Hey friends, welcome back to Markelly Farm. I wanted to do a little review today on our 2022 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT model. So stick with us here and we'll go through what we got and tell you what we like and what we don't like. Brandy thinks we're going somewhere. We are not. We just got back, Brandy. So, I like to stay in a newer vehicle, so I trade my vehicle in every few years. And I'll do another video on that, how to stay in a new vehicle and avoid repairs and stay within your warranty and all that. But that's not what we're doing today. So the truck I traded in was a 2018 of the same model, the 1500 Silverado LT model. I always get the base model because I don't need a lot of bells and whistles. But with that being said, Chevy has added on some bells and whistles to the base model. Some good, some bad. So let's tell you about the bad first. You know the old saying, you want the bad news or the good news. So I'm going to give you the bad first. There's two things about this vehicle that annoy the hell out of me. One of them is in 2019, they stopped using the cell phone interface within their infotainment system. So the truck will still connect to your phone, although it's very spotty and can't decide whether it wants to connect or not now. Back in the 2018, as soon as you got in the truck, you had to do nothing. Once you've had your phone paired one time, you even got close to your truck, it paired. And you had to walk quite a ways away from your truck before it would, disconnect. So it was very good at pairing. The new models are not good at pairing, and it seems like every time I get in the vehicle, I have to mess with something to either get my phone to pair or my music to play. And in the 18, we did not have that problem. Now, the other problem is without that cell phone interface, the vehicle will no longer read you your text messages. And I know that seems like a problem that's not a big deal. But when you're driving down the road and you don't want to have your phone in your hand, which is the only way you should do it, it's very nice to be able to hit a button on your steering wheel and your truck reads your text message to you. That way you know whether it's emergent, you need to pull over, make a phone call, or pull over and answer the text, or things can just wait until you reach your destination. So I think that's an unsafe change that they've made, because now people are going to have their cell phone in their hands more often, and it needs to be less often. Now, Chevy's going to tell you, well, it'll still do that if you download the app. Well, the only two apps that I know of to download to connect to your vehicle are, one, Android Auto, which I have to use because I don't have a iPhone, or Apple CarPlay. Now, I have no experience with Apple CarPlay and how it reacts in this vehicle, but from what I'm seeing with the Android Auto, most of the problem is with the vehicle's computer or infotainment system and not the phone, because same phone in the other truck worked flawlessly. So I hate the Android Auto feature, and in my opinion, that app is garbage. Absolute garbage. I tried using it before in my other truck because for some things to work, you had to have the app and had to have your phone plugged in. If you wanted to be able to do voice to text while in your truck, you had to be plugged into Android Auto. And if you wanted to navigate through your vehicle's entertainment system, you had to be plugged into Android Auto. However, I found out early on that the app, in my opinion, was garbage. So I never plug my phone in, and I always just use the navigation on my phone instead, because the app was always doing stupid things I didn't want to do, connecting, disconnecting. If you didn't have service, it would disconnect. It was just junk. And if you live in a rural area, you don't have service everywhere you go. You know what I'm talking about. So on the new vehicle, you don't have to plug in to use the app like you did the old one. It'll pick it up over Bluetooth. However, it's on again, off again all the time. And like I said, when you get in the vehicle, it can't decide what it wants to do, what music it wants to play, and it jumps around, and you pretty much got to provide too much input to get it to do what you want it to do. And I hate that. So I'm not using the Android Auto. I gave it a shot because it was my only option to get my text messages read to me in this truck. And for people that do this all the time, it's not a trivial problem, Chevy. Come on. You need to fix this. You either need to come up with an app that we can download that actually works, use your own app, or figure something out to where your infotainment system reacts and speaks or talks together to the app a little bit better, because this is garbage. So there's my rant on the infotainment system. So the next thing that I absolutely cannot stand, which I guess has been made a little bit better in the 2022 model as far as the explanation from my dealer, is the auto stop feature. Auto stop has derived from this green environmental push that they're doing right now, that the government's forcing down automakers' throats, where when you come to a stop sign and you put on your brake, once you're at a complete stop and no longer have any forward movement, your engine shuts off automatically. And then when you want to go again and you take your foot off the brake, your engine starts again and you can drive. So having kind of not so much a mechanic background, but know a little bit about mechanics, to me, that's going to burn your starter out way prematurely, having to start and stop at every stop sign that you come to. Ridiculous feature that's been jammed down our throats. Not so much by Chevy, but by the people that are making Chevy put this feature into the vehicle. Now, my dealer has explained to me that before 2022, you did not have the option to turn that feature off. And now in the 2022 models, you can. However, every time you start your vehicle, you have to push this button right here to turn that feature off, which to me is very annoying. I don't want to do this every time I start my vehicle, turning that feature off. To me, it would make better sense to where you could turn that feature on if you were so inclined to use it. However, I believe probably they were forced not to do it that way, being it was a smarter way to do it, because anything government's involved is going to be the dumbest way ever, in my opinion, of course. The other unsafe thing about this, I've noticed when I forgot to turn it off when I'm at a stop sign, or say in a drive-through. Can you imagine being in a drive-through, start and stop, start and stop, start and stop? Your engine would be turning on 8 to 10 times, depending on how long you were in that drive-through. But I've noticed, like sitting in a drive-through, if you ease your foot, if you say you ease off the brake just a little bit, unknowingly, the truck will start and kind of surge forward. To me, that's very dangerous. You're going to get like an elderly person or something that's not used to that, and they're going to freak out and probably run into something. So, to me, it's another feature that I believe is unsafe, and it's going to cause some problems. And if you're going to add features to a vehicle, they shouldn't be things that the owner has to put up with. It should enhance their life or enhance their experience in your vehicle, in my opinion, of course. So those are the two things I absolutely cannot stand, and the only two problems I have with my new vehicle. So some of the added features since I had my 2018 Silverado. They've taken the tow haul switch and they've put it over here instead of on the end of your gear shifter where it normally is. So to put it in tow haul, you turn that to the left. However, if you turn that switch to the right, it gives you different driving modes as well. You have your standard mode, you have your sport mode, and you have your off-road mode, which that was not available in my 2018 vehicle. The knob that used to adjust your four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, and all that is now buttons, which is not a problem. You've got your cargo lights over here. Your headlights are the same. However, this no longer has the button right here in the middle that turns on fog lights. The LT model no longer has fog lights, apparently. Maybe there's different versions of the LT model. I'm not sure, but the cargo lights in the bed are now actually in the bed instead of just up by the third brake light. You now have cargo lights in your bed, and I'll show you those. You also have more tie-down areas in the bed of the pickup, and there's even areas where you can pull the plastic plug out and add additional tie-down areas that you can purchase from the dealer. But just as stock, you have a lot more tie-down options in the bed of your vehicle. I'll show you those. The other things that you can see from those pictures is the bed comes stock with kind of a rhino lining now, which is a great idea. You no longer have that garbage plastic lining that's the first thing that I pulled out of my Everett truck, is took that thing out. Creates a lot of static electricity, which is dangerous when you're fueling. And stuff gets up underneath it and causes corrosion because it never dries. So I always pull those right out. So let's look at our steering wheel now. Down here on the steering wheel, you'll see this little button. That's for heated steering wheel. And I'll tell you, out here in the Midwest, I've already enjoyed that. When it's below zero, freezing out here, turn this thing on, you got that toasty warm steering wheel going on. That's a pretty cool function. However, I wish when you auto started that this thing would come on automatically, but that's all right. It doesn't take long to heat up. Cruise control, it looks a little bit different than it did in the old truck, but it still works the same. And these buttons over here are pretty much the same, other than this is a roller thing now instead of a switch kind of thing. But that's no big deal. You still have your volume knobs on the back of the steering wheel for your radio system, and you have your buttons back here to go forward or back, like in your playlist or whatever on this side. And they may do another function as well. There's some other info items that you can get on the screen, but most of them are pretty much the same. So let's go over here to our center console. Now the dealer's telling me, and I don't know if it's correct, but he's saying due to part shortages, they were shipping out vehicles without the heated and cooled seats, and they are going to be added in retroactively. As the parts come available, your dealership will contact you, and you'll go in and they'll add them retroactively. And that's what these little punch outs here are for. He said if your vehicle doesn't come with these punch outs, you're not getting them. But if your vehicle does have these, you're supposed to get them in the future. I don't know how accurate that is, because I wouldn't think an LT model would come with heated and cooled seats, but I also didn't think it would come with a heated steering wheel as well. The other thing with your climate control system here, the old ones had the buttons say that would do floor and defrost or floor and mid-level vents. This new vehicle comes with buttons for each. So if you want the mid-level and the floor, you press both of these buttons and little lights comes on. So you can choose whatever you want, whatever combination. Because I always thought it would be nice to have the defrost and the mid-levels at the same time, but the vehicles never had that. They always had the defrost and the floor level. So now I can actually do that. If I hit this button and this button, I get actually defrost and mid-level. So whatever you want, you choose with these 3 buttons. You can do all 3 at the same time if you'd like. You still have your rear defroster. Your max defrost closes all these other ones out and concentrates all of your air up to the windshield itself, so you can thaw out a lot quicker. These buttons are all still the same. You have your sync button here, your auto button here. The problem with your auto button is I never have it on because your AC unit under the hood constantly runs when you're on auto. And I don't want that to run constant because it'll rob fuel mileage, in my opinion. So I leave that off of auto. But with auto, it'll heat and cool whatever you need, depending on where your temperature setting is. Got more buttons down here than I did on my old truck. You have your grade braking button here, which I had grade braking on the other truck, but it was kind of automatic when you were in tow haul. This is your auto stop turn off, which I'm going to try to find a hack for that. This is your tailgate. You now have an automatic powered tailgate where you can open your tailgate and close your tailgate under power. You don't have to even touch it. And you can do it from your key fob as well. You can open and close your tailgate. Your hazard buttons there in the middle. You have your traction control, and that is your 110 power outlet back in the bed. Back towards the back right-hand passenger side of the bed, there's a power outlet for 120, 110 volt that'll actually handle 400 watts. Pretty amazing. We have the 110 outlet here. We have the standard 12 volt plug there. And then we have a USB plug. And then I believe a micro USB here. And even an SD card slot right there. One of the things I was most excited about is now this truck comes with an integrated brake controller. Whereas all the previous years that I've had vehicles didn't come with the LT model with the integrated brake controller. And that is such a nice feature because anybody that's ever used the aftermarket brake controllers, those are junk as well. You really get what you pay for with those. And they never really work as well as they should. They always seem to kind of drag the brakes on the trailer and stuff. This one works really well. I've already used it. And you can adjust it with these buttons here. And it comes up right on your info screen here whenever you use it. It's actually really cool. The other thing I mentioned, forgot to mention, when you're in tow haul, it used to be every time you started and stopped your vehicle, you had to press the tow haul button again to get it back into tow haul. This one, once you put it in tow haul, if you have a trailer plugged in, it stays in tow haul until you leave your vehicle for more than just a few minutes, or until you unplug the trailer plug in the back of the vehicle. This thing actually senses the trailer when you plug it in. You also come with a keyless start. So if your key fob is on you or real close to the vehicle, you press your brake and you press this button, your truck starts for you. If you don't press the brake, you can press this and your accessory power comes on. Just like turning your key one time, everything comes on in your vehicle. And you can turn it off the same way. Just press that without touching the brakes or whatever. And it will turn your everything off, turn your accessory off. Now let's look at your settings here on the home screen. I got to turn my wipers off. It was a little touch of rain on the way home. The other thing I really like, you come to this screen here, it's got a camera button now where you can turn on your rear view camera without it having in reverse. So if I wanted to keep my camera on or turn it on while I'm going down the road, if say I have something in the bed of the truck that obstructs my view to the rear, I can turn the camera on and leave it on now and be able to see behind the vehicle. It's a really pretty cool function. If you get an upper scale model truck, they'll actually have it to where it shows up in your rear view mirror just like you're looking in your rear view mirror. Some of the higher end models have some really cool stuff. They have 360 views too, but this truck doesn't have it. Now, one thing they do have, if you press trailer, it adds a line right here, and it lines up your trailer ball with whatever you're backing to. And if you're turning, it'll show you the path that you need to go to line up. If you line up the end of this line with your hitch that you're going to, you can follow it right to your ball. Now, this one gives your backing up grid. The only problem I've had with this backing up grid here is, yeah, it shows you what's in your path when you're backing up. However, you can still hit things out here on the corner of your truck. I wish they would have made these lines here. And if you smell Shirley Thompson's, then you'll find... Sorry. Let's go back to the home screen. I wish they would have made these lines here to represent the outside corners of your vehicle, so you know if something's going to come into your path. Because right now, if you're going by these lines, you can still clip something with the corner of your vehicle out here. So that's enough on that. There's other functions. You can set a lot of different stuff on here, which my old truck does that as well. But you actually have 3 screens that you can go through. The other cool thing is this trailering button. If you hit that button, your truck, after you've plugged into your trailer, will cycle through all of your lights in your trailer. So instead of having somebody in the cab of your truck working all your lights for you while you're checking, it automatically cycles through all the different lights as you're standing back behind your trailer. And then you just come back up and turn that off again. But there's all kinds of different settings that you can change as far as unlocking your vehicle, whether it unlocks just the driver door or all the doors with your key fob. You can set it to where it rolls down all your windows with the push of a button on your key fob. You can set it to where your truck automatically locks if you walk away from your truck with the key fob in your pocket. And you can set it to where it'll passively unlock when you get up to your vehicle. There's little silver buttons on the door handles. If you press that, it automatically unlocks your truck, and you can set it to either unlock all the doors or just your driver door, just with the press of that little silver button out here on the outside door handle. But that's enough about that system. One more thing I wanted to mention on the comfort controls down here. This truck model year, they've added vents in the rear seat, and I'll show you those. Now you can also see from that picture, there's also USB ports back there. And then there's the 12 volt, the standard 12 volt plug back there as well. There are no adjustments for any of the comfort controls or radio or anything like that some of the higher end models have, but it's still nice having those back there. Now, another item we have is the rear sliding window. It opens and closes. Button right here on the upper console. Up here we have kind of the same functions. Your dome lights. This is so if you open the door, your lights either come on or off. You've got your buttons for your garage door openers and stuff, your lights, all that stuff. You have a fairly roomy center console. Another change from the 2018 that I had, there's no USB ports inside the console like there was in the other one. This one you have to connect here on the dash, which is kind of cumbersome. The old truck also used to have a USB port inside the glove box. So like my flash drive here that all my music is on, that used to be in the glove box out of the way. Now it's got to be out here in the dash. The rear seats, you still have the center section in the rear seat that folds down with the 2 cup holders. And also, in addition, the rear seat in the backs of the outer seats, not in the center seat, of course, because that's where your center console comes down. In the backs of the outer section of the rear seat, there's cubby holes now, and I'll show you those. The other addition to the rear seat now has storage bins built in underneath. Before, you had to buy an aftermarket kind of cubby that would tuck up underneath the rear seat that would keep your stuff from rolling all around on the floor. Now that comes standard, and I'll show you that. Another feature is you have this console compartment here, but there's another console compartment down here. My 2018 also had this, but this one's actually lockable. So if you wanted to put something in there that's a little more secure, it actually locks with the key that is inside of your key fob. Also, we'll show you the key fob because it's not just the fob. Now, I don't know if this compartment would suffice for you gun enthusiasts being able to lock your weapon in your vehicle by law, but it does have a nice lock. But check with your laws to make sure that if you're wanting to carry a weapon in your vehicle, that qualifies for a locked compartment that you can put your weapons in. Now, when I first got the vehicle, it comes with 2 of these key fobs, and everything's keyless. You don't need a key to start your vehicle like we showed you. But on the outer door, there's still a keyhole on the outside of the cab. I'm like, why do I have a keyhole? Maybe keys are optional that you can buy later or something like that. I don't know. But reading further into like the user manual and stuff like that, this little button right here on the side of your key fob, if you press that in, it actually releases your key, which is actually inside of your key fob. So you do still have a key, and that key works for your outer doors if your fob goes dead. And it also works for that locked compartment that we just talked about. And it's inside of your key fob, and it just clicks back in there like that. While we got the key fob here, let's tell you a couple other items. You have your standard lock and unlock, and go into the settings in your infotainment system. You can determine what these buttons do when you push them, and different lengths of time that you push them and stuff like that. This is, of course, your auto start. Your auto start on the 2022 is actually 15 minutes instead of 10, and it'll let you do 2 cycles. So that's kind of nice out here in the Midwest, because 2 10-minute cycles almost didn't do it. So now you can up to a half an hour with that. This button down here is your tailgate. You press it once, and your tailgate will come down. You press it 1 time and then hold it a 2nd time, and your tailgate goes back up. And of course, this is your alarm button. You can also, like I said, in your infotainment system, you can set up where this will even unroll all of your windows by a long push of, I think, your unlock button. And you can determine whether it's just the driver's window or all 4 windows. Now, the parking brake is now a push button. You step down on the brake and you push that button, and it will lock your parking brakes. And then you step down on the brake and push that button again, it unlocks your parking brake. So you're no longer having to reach way down there, pulling handles and stepping on pedals to set your parking brake. It's now a push button. So that's about all the features I can think of, the newer features on the newer model vehicles. Those are the pluses. You know, those were pretty nice. Oh, transmission. This truck has 8-speed automatic transmission now instead of the 6-speed that my other truck had. And that's nice if you're driving in the mountains or pulling trailers, because sometimes the lower speeds were either too low or too high. Now with 2 additional gears, it'll kind of split that up a little bit, and you may not run into that problem. But I know low gear, I found in my old truck and even this truck, driving slow the other day, in the low gear, you constantly have to have your foot on the brake to keep from going faster than you want to go. You really can't just creep. So that would be a plus if Chevy wanted to come up with some like that. Put a low gear that your truck normally wouldn't use unless you pull it into manual and go down to that low gear to where it would hold you back a little bit better. That would be a cool addition if they come up with that. Right now, if you want to drive really slow, you have to put it in 4 low, which means you need to stop completely. I believe put it in park or neutral before it'll go into 4 low. But that'll hold you back a little bit. The only setback is that if you're on a harder surface, you have the problems with the steering when you're going around corners, and you shouldn't be on a hard surface where you got good traction. You shouldn't be in 4-wheel drive because it wants to grab too much, and you'll notice it in the steering. But a low gear would be nice. So, but other than that, I'm happy with this vehicle. Tell you the truth, I haven't even looked under the hood. I don't even know what it looks like under there. So I just don't bother myself with that because I don't do repairs anymore. I've spent too many years throwing parts at stuff and spending way too much money. Now, if something goes wrong, I'm under warranty and I don't have to worry about it. Or before I started, keeping myself in new vehicles, I would just take it and get it fixed. I'd be money ahead just to go get it fixed and have somebody do it that knew what they were doing. So this video is getting pretty long, so I need to let you guys go. So if you got any questions about this model year of truck, feel free to drop them down in the comments. We'll put a couple videos up over here for your viewing pleasure on your way out. So until then, till you come back and see us again, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you. And make sure to subscribe if you want to keep seeing our stuff here on the farm. We'd love for you guys to subscribe and share because that helps us get to more people, and our whole goal is to help people out and show them some stuff. So catch you later. Hope you have a great day.